Dave,
John,
Shane,
Chad,
these sci-fi guys.
Welcome to these Sci-Fi Guys. I'm your host, Dave. With me always is Chad, John, and Shane. Today we're going to be
What's up,
talking
everybody?
Oh, sorry. I talked right over you. My fault.
Hey, now listen, you say we should address vocally for the,
That's
the
right.
audio listeners.
This
we,
is true.
We tried it this time.
We did.
And
All right,
I
all
talked
right,
over
all
you.
right.
My apologies. And you guys were the right ones. What are we talking about today? What movie? Oh, yeah. We're doing Waterworld. Kevin Costner, when he started losing his hair. Yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Oh, see, we were discussing this offline, and you see it switches every time on its own. So I'll just
that's
manually.
just where we're going to be.
Whoever is picking the movie is going to be in the left corner. So we'll just go with that. So who picked this movie? Oh yeah, I just moved Chad there. So Chad is there, and he gets to ask the questions.
You know me. All right, guys. I know this was not the best movie out there, but it was a little bit better than last week's.
Oh, come on. We had The Rock.
Fair.
See, that's the early Rock. Now, still,
Yeah.
better than last
Well,
week's.
at least this is built in its own world, so that helps
Yeah.
it a little
Yes.
bit. We were trying to compare
This
it to
is-
a video game last week.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
So we're going to rate it right now, right?
Yeah, we can go ahead and rate it
Yeah,
now.
right now. Right now.
So, do you think this can happen in today's times, or in the near future, where the whole world is flooded? I got a little scientific on you.
Okay. Who are you picking?
Let's go with John.
All right, so if I go worldview and biblical, my vote is an immediate no. But if we go for the fun answer, which I think is more appropriate for what we do, honestly, I still don't think so. At least not as much as the movie suggests. Because even modern science is like, I mean, if the ice caps melt, maybe a few feet, not the whole Earth. So I definitely don't see the whole Earth flooding unless there's just this huge like meteor that changes landscaping altogether. I don't know, but I definitely don't see it on either way. But I'm just gonna knock one of my potholes out of the way. I think the polar caps melting would not cause it to do that much, even scientifically. So there's mine.
All right, Dave.
Biblically, no, because the Bible said no. It will never happen again.
That's right.
With the polar caps melting again, John, that was one of my plot holes too. So, but I have plenty of others. No, that would not. Again, John was right. You know, is it plausible that something could happen and the earth becomes flooded? Yes, I believe it's plausible. It could happen. I just don't think it ever will, just because of what Scripture says.
Yeah. All right, Shane.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think that if you're going by Scripture, which I mean we do, God says He will not flood the earth again. I will say that I did a little bit of basic research, and according to what I found, if the polar ice caps actually did melt, and some of this is Chat GPT, some of this is other stuff I found, but it would only raise the sea level by about 230 feet, which would basically flood coastal cities, but it would not necessarily go to where it wipes out everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say no. Now, if you ask people that are about global warming, and I'm sorry if any of our audience is, but it would you could say some of it, but I just don't think it's going to happen. That's my personal opinion.
I agree with that both. That's what I was. If nobody hinted at that, that's global warming is not going to make this Earth flood like it was in this movie. It's not. It's not. It's not enough ice out there to do it. It has to be catastrophically raining and global warming. Now I know this. We got a movie on deck that talks about what other can happen with this. So I'm not getting into that. So let's go to the next question. And so, say that the Earth is flooded and it's water all over the place. We saw different types of boats, different types of vessels, what they used. What type of boat would you choose to use in this world? And let's go with Shane.
All right. I really like the boat that the Mariner used. I think it was based off of those classic sailboats that you see in a lot of sailing competitions and things like that. And I think it was engineered very well. I would have maybe included a little more cargo space and maybe a couple of other things as far as the sails, maybe some defenses as well. But I think the overall design of his boat worked well. Just from the way it could move, it could maneuver, it could go without a sail, it could have a sail. So, I mean, I think it worked.
So you really going with the catamaran sail?
That's what I would probably do. Yes.
Oh, come on! Don't you want a yacht?
A big old
Yeah. Yes. Will it happen? No.
That's not my choice, though. So I'll be honest.
All right, Dave. What's your choice?
Okay, my choice. Nuclear submarine. I mean, come on. You know,
Okay.
one, a nuclear power plant's going to last forever. Nuclear submarines already have the ability to take salt water, convert it to fresh water. They've already got that built into them. So you'll have fresh water. You'll have a bathroom, you know.
Yeah,
and you could probably make a hydroponics garden in there and still be able to surface, go fishing, meet other people. You know, that's me personally. I know that's what I would do. And you have some great defenses.
So
I-
who plus you gonna man that machine with?
AI.
Love it. Love it.
It'd be
All right.
Alexa. I'll just tell Alexa, you know, hey Alexa, do this, or hey Siri, do this. And
Right.
we'll just run it.
All right, John. What about you?
So I'm going complete opposite of technological advancement. Give me the biggest 3-mast sailboat you can find, and just let me live my best yo-ho life. Okay, that's what I'm going for. I'm going,
Okay.
Pirates of the Caribbean style. Let me roam the earth with my big boat.
Gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like the American ship in the Master Commander series they were chasing after, or
Oh, nice.
Because I think there was a low draft ship that it can go on shoals. Even the ship in the Pirates of the Caribbean that they get sunk in the first one, but something shallow and running that at least can go fast. So
Yeah. We definitely have all the, Shane kind of went with the movie. You went with a classic, like a cutter type, big sails, lots of them. John went with a, hey, just leave me alone boat. And I went with nuclear underground submarine. So yeah, we're all over the place, aren't we?
And you call
Yes.
mine "Leave Me Alone," Dave.
I mean,
See-
I would surface. You guys would know me. I'd have my flag out and all that,
all right, so okay, where were we? Where did he get? So all this in the beginning of the movie, going into somewhere in the beginning of the movie, that goes into a little community, gated community, and he held out the jars. I got a jar full of sand, dirt, sand, whatever you want to call it. Where do you think he got it from?
The
I think he
ocean.
got it from the ocean and
Yeah.
just basically set it out there and let it dry. And then, because he could dive all the way down there. I mean, he
Yeah.
showed her at one point, he scooped it up and showed her, oh, look, there's dirt here.
Yeah.
That's
That
kinda
was
how
my
I think
thought
he did
too.
it.
I agree. That's my thought.
Did anybody hear the story where he even said, "Hey, I got this off traders, got this off somebody that was there." But that's very skeptical of, somebody carried a big jar of dirt.
Especially with how much he got for that thing of dirt.
Yeah.
Either A, he killed the traders and he just took it from them.
For sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's a possibility. Or B, he dove down and
Yeah.
and did it himself.
Yeah.
More possible. Dive down and get him himself.
Especially for Mr. Gilly Boy.
hmm
All right. Since you went that way, we're gonna go to this question. And what would you done if you found out that the stranger that you let in your town or you met along the road was evolution, like changed? It was still human, but changed in evolution where he can actually breathe in water. How would you what would you done?
Cool. Honestly, I think it would be cool. I mean, I would just talk to him and be like, dude, tell me some of those things you've seen then. What's it like under the water? We're way deeper than I can swim. Something like that. Sorry, my light is flickering. I don't know if y'all are noticing it or not. Let me try that. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of what I would do is I just talk to him. Just find out, hey, what's going on? What do you think? Tell me what you've seen. I wouldn't go after him like they did. It kind of. I know we were talking offline about Monty Python and the Holy Grail,
Yeah.
but it kind of reminds me of she's a witch. It's a witch. And
Yep.
then trying to flog them, and it's like, oh come on. Okay, yes, he's different. He's out there. He's got these evolutionary traits that we don't. He can breathe underwater. To me, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. What about Shane?
I would have done the exact opposite of what they did. I agree with Dave. I would have tried to learn from him, see what he has seen, what he's experienced. I think he could be a great asset, especially if you're trying to survive out there in the open sea and you have somebody who can actually breathe underwater. I mean, there's a possibility to help gather more food. There's a possibility to help find different resources. I mean, I just think that it would be a much greater asset than just a prisoner kind of thing.
Yeah. What about you, John?
I mean, the only reason I would not immediately go the inviting route is simply because they definitely seem like they had a history with those with gills. It seems like they had some past experience that kind of traumatized them. So off of that, I think they responded appropriately just out of survival state. But if we're just talking, I meet someone who can breathe underwater. I mean, we're living the best life. You, I don't know. I'm going to send you on. If nothing else, I take advantage of it and make you go do stuff for me. Like, hey, go find this, go find this. There's got to be stuff at the bottom of the ocean, So I think I would more go with that route of, well, let's use them for the town and see if we can come up with a deal.
Yeah, I agree with Dave and Shane here. I mean, I'll be more cautious, like if something did happen like that before, but at least give him a chance to prove himself, earn his way there, instead of just, oh, he's different, I'm gonna lock him up. But you think in that scene, they didn't find out till he rejected their offer of, hey, we need you to do this to me, do this for us. He said, no, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And then changed. And that's when they found out. All right. So the last question here: How did y'all think of the character growth in this movie with Kevin Costner's role, going from I'm gonna be alone and actually trusting the kid and the the kid and the mom per se in this movie that had just trusting real in it. How what do you think of the growth in him of the character?
Excuse me.
All right, John.
Okay. Oh, John, he called you. I was getting ready to
Yeah.
jump in, but go ahead.
I definitely, I don't know. They almost tried too hard to make it seem like character growth a little bit, but I also get where they were coming from story wise. To me, it almost actually isn't character growth. I think he just puts on that real brute exterior just out of survival sake. And once he realizes he's safe, I think he just shows who he really is, which I understand to an extent is character growth. But I don't necessarily. It didn't feel like he changed to me personally. I know y'all may disagree on that point, but to me, it seems like that's just who he is, and he just puts up the gruff wall so that he can survive. And over time, he just let down the wall so much. I think is changed because that was one of the things I was like. I don't know. I think part of that also deals with the family I've had that just put up the gruff walls, and just getting closer to them over life. And it's like, oh, okay, that's just who you are. Got it.
You see, I didn't even think about it in that aspect. I just thought about it as, you know what? He was a loner. He was by himself. You know, he didn't want anything to do with anybody. He just wanted to survive. And then slowly, the little girl started to work her way into his life, and just he was mad that she took his crayons, but then over time he started to enjoy looking at the pictures and stuff that she was drawing. So
Yep.
that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. I wonder also if there was a little bit of past trauma there, just from him being different from others. I mean, and this is probably a plot hole I'll talk about later, but it really doesn't talk about a lot of other mariners out there that have gills, that have the web feet. So if that's true, there could have been some trauma from him being treated differently, and that kind of made him be that kind of a loner. But as he learned that some people could be trusted, then as John said, that wall kind of started to come down a little bit. So I kind of wondered that.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the. I don't know if you noticed when he was in the cages and the smokers are attacking. He actually saw he looked at the girl and lady and the girl running getting Ted. Something you saw the change. Like he didn't like that,
Mm-hmm.
but it also knows it fight or flight. He was out there trying to get out of the city, and they had to take him. But you saw the very slow where the girl was working her way into him, and that's what I mean. You go out of this. What human traits out there you gonna let something like not affect you, that not even trying to help them out.
Mhm.
So that's it with the questions. Unless anybody else got a bonus question out there.
Nope, no bonus questions, but we have behind the scenes. I kind of forgot to do this first, so I was planning behind the scenes before we asked the questions, but hey, it worked out that we asked questions. Okay, I'm going to try to shorten these behind the scenes because there was a ton of information out there. One of the things about this movie here, let me put up some pictures here for those of you on audio. You should come to YouTube and check them out. Okay, so it's been called Kevin's Gate, referring to the disastrous Heaven's Gate that sank Universal Artists. It's also been called Fish Tar, with the reference to the famous flop Ishtar. The film is Waterworld, a post-apocalyptic story of melting polar ice caps causing the world to be submerged underwater, with a mutant hero complete with gills and fins, saving humanity by leading the few human survivors to dry land. Yeah, the more I think about it, I mean that is pretty much what the movie was, but it sounded better when I read it than some of the we watched. Okay, the story begins. This was a young Harvard graduate. His name was Peter Rader. He actually pitched the script to one company, which was looking for a knockoff of the hit Mad Max. And Waterworld was originally conceived as a children's adventure film, but the company backed away when they found out that his idea was to be based on water. The producers at the time, his name was Brad. He told him, he says, "Are you out of your mind? A movie like that would cost $5 million to make." But Rader decided to write a script anyway. He was bought out by Universal, the company Universal, Hollywood, not Hollywood, Universal Studios. Thank you. Couldn't think of what it's called there. Via Largo Entertainment. It was just one of their subsidiaries. Costner, they wanted someone. Let's see. Universal wanted someone else, but Costner was a huge star, and Costner insisted that they wanted his director, Kevin Reynolds. That's the guy over here on my right. The right-hand side. Of course, Costner was getting paid $14 million to act and produce. He threatened to walk if Reynolds wasn't hired. All right. Well, what do you think happened, guys? Uh-oh. Something's going to happen here. I just know it. Here we go. Ready?
Fight!
And yeah. Boom. Costner wins. All right. That's all there is to it. So, they clashed repeatedly. Reynolds deferred to Costner all throughout production. Costner didn't like the wall-to-wall action. He took over editing. Reynolds said, "I'm out of here. I quit." And I quote, "Costner should only appear in pictures he directs himself. That way he can always be working with his favorite actor and favorite director." So, Shane, you said you had something about the score. I think this is a good spot to put it in here.
Sure. So just really quick, the original score was supposed to be written by a guy named Mark Isham, I think is how you say it. And there were some creative differences in how he saw it versus how the director saw it, so he was fired. And then James Newton Howard was hired, and he literally wrote the score last minute. He literally had just over a month to both write and record the entire score, which...
Whoa. You said a month?
A month. Just over a month to write it and record it. Usually it takes several months, if not a year or so, to actually just write it, and then you have to record it, and that's a very long process too. But he did all of this in just over a month. It is very much inspired by John Williams, which, if you know anything about John Williams, big, bold brass, sweeping strings, very, very big sound, and
very defining of Universal.
Very defining. Exactly. One thing he did too, though, along with your traditional orchestra, and you can hear some of this throughout some of the sea scenes, is a lot of tribal instruments, like tribal flutes, things like that. You kind of hear, it almost sounds like what you would hear in a traditional Australian music, things like didgeridoo, stuff like that. Very, very tribal in some of those, to kind of give it that otherworldly feel.
Yeah, I could definitely hear that for sure. Whenever when I was watching it, I just watched it a couple days ago, and just like I think that's kind of the theme that they ended up going with. It's not what they started with, mind you. Let me pull up my screen here again. So, all right, so they started. The initial budget of the film was $100 million. That was the initial budget. That's not what they spent. I'll give you a forewarning. All right. And it was only supposed to take 96 days to shoot. All right. The budget was high because of the complicated sets. This, as you can see on the screen, this was the floating atoll, is what they called it. It was built in Hawaii's harbor off the big island of Karawahi. I'm sorry if you're Hawaiian and I butchered that. I apologize. It cost $22 million to build this thing, and it weighed more than 1,000 tons.
Yeah.
Every
Wow.
bit of steel for it had to be flown from the mainland to
Wow.
build this thing. So there's your cost overrun.
Yeah.
The original tone of the movie was much campier. All right, you guys are gonna get a kick out of this. I'm sorry. Mariner was a human being. He was defending this atoll and had a basically had a thing for secretly painting seahorses. The villain, Deacon, was sillier as well. He dressed like King Trident and he slapped his underlings in the face with fishes.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm sorry for you guys out there. I had the Veggie Tales where they did the fishes where they slapped each other with it. Anyway, once writers Joss Whedon and David Tohoy got in there for the rewrites, it became much more serious. They began production without even having a locked script. Scenes were written on the fly every night, including by Costner. There was a huge problem. All right. Costner actually got to talk to our buddy here, Steven Spielberg, who filmed Jaws, and said, "Hey, we need some advice about this movie." And Spielberg said, "Do not shoot on water. You're going to need meaning water out in the water. Meaning if you're going to shoot it, you need to do it in a tank or on a stage. Use because you're going to need a couple of shots for everything. That's what your second unit is going to need to be for." Well, they didn't listen.
Of course not.
Sorry, of course not. Even simple scenes took longer than expected to film. All right. They were constantly on separate boats filming the action that would pull them apart, making it impossible to be certain that the camera angles were the same on each take. The makeup crew was on a separate boat and had to be ferried to the floating set after each take. By the time the makeup artists got there, did their job, got out of the way, the boats with the cameras drifted, and they had to start up the process all over again. Also, hey, guess what? There was no bathrooms.
Oh, goodness.
On set. So they had to be ferried to a barge nearby if they needed to use the facilities. I mean, this was a disaster waiting to happen. Good news, though. There is some good news. In October of 1995, Universal Studios had a live Sea War spectacular show called Waterworld. All right. The show expanded its theme parks from just Hawaii. I'm sorry, from just Universal Studios in California to Japan, Singapore, and Beijing. All four of them currently, as of the time of this recording, still have Waterworld as one of their main attractions. And it is what I've read is the best attraction that everyone wants to go to. That there's has the longest lines for anything. So I did read that it is the one in Hollywood right now is currently being renovated. I'm hoping that doesn't mean that they're going to get rid of it, but it is being renovated currently. Okay, budget. I'm just going to throw it up here. It ended up being $175 million. It did gross $264 million worldwide, but
Okay.
only $88 million of that was in North America.
Wow.
So it lost money in the U.S. and Canada, but it made money overseas. Thus,
Well, at
when you
least
think
they
about
go.
it, they ended up having this movie, and here it is. That movie was 1995. Here it is, 2025, 30 years later, and they still have a theme park attraction
Mm-hmm.
for this. That's doing something. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is.
So that was enough. That was my voice is like because there was a lot there. I mean, and I even cut down. There was so much more information about they had something else that got sunk. And that's what a lot of the cost overruns were things like that.
Yeah.
Weather delays, et cetera, et cetera. So now let's look at plot holes. Plot holes, our favorite part of the movie. All right, so anyone want to jump in besides their plot hole about the ice caps? We already have talked about that. So, John, you've got your hand raised. Go with it.
My basic overall plot hole is just why are they so dumb? Just as humans who lived in a world pre-flooded, have had children who have had children who have had children who have had children. Why are they so dumb? Like we could be desalinating salt water at this point. We also know, regardless, that there is land under the water, and I'm sure that would have been passed down through generations. Like the dirt didn't just disappear. It's not just like water and then magma. Why do we care? I don't know. There's just most of it comes down to why are they dumb? That and then the smokers having enough fuel to last 5 ever. So you have no water to drink, but we can find fuel to run these boats and planes as much as we want to, because that makes complete sense.
And how about all the cigarettes?
Yeah. But and around the cigarette, why is paper so important? Because they can't read the mat to begin with, apparently. So why do they care so much about paper? Those are my main 3. I digress with those.
Well, you took one of mine with the smokers with the oil, their fuel, because you saw how much we got. Yeah, about this. All right, we need to cancel the boat pool. It was like we got to cancel all these things to focus to find this girl with a map on the back
that you can't read.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you got any, Shane?
They really mentioned most of mine, but I will go a little further with the smokers thing. Who are they? Where did they come from? What is their objective? I mean, I know everybody's trying to find dry land. I get that. But like what who are they?
The Exxon Valdez, and I guess they figured out how to convert the oil to gasoline.
I guess because don't you need a refinery to do that?
Yes,
you refine it
You
now?
can't just do that on a
It's
boat.
like, what are we doing here?
I mean, I could see
don't think it
reusing
really-
bullets. I can see that.
Yeah.
Because you can always repack. You can repack shells as long as they're brass. If they're steel, no, you can't do that. But if it's brass, sure.
Yeah. Just don't think it went into them enough. I would have liked to have known a little more about them. And was the Mariner the only mutant? I want to know that.
True.
Yeah. I mean, there's again, I've got tons of them.
Well, you had what was it, the grandfather that flew off in the beginning? He had a copy of the map, like it was sketched out. And towards when they got caught by the smokers, they were gonna peel the skin off the girl's back just to get the tattoo off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why? It goes to John. Why are they so dumb?
Well, how old was she
Mm-hmm.
when they sent her away? Is what I want to know. to tattoo a person. I don't have any tattoos, but I know it doesn't feel good. And to do that to a child, I'm sorry. Why are they so dumb? I noticed that there was on the atoll. All right. Hey, why wasn't there any way to catch rainwater?
Yeah.
I didn't see anything like that. Same with his boat. He could take his urine and convert it, but you have no way to catch rainwater. Are you saying it never rains? Um, that atoll was ramshackled together. How could that even be held together by storms, etc.? Um,
Why No Cities is
Safety
another
has
one of
the
mine.
walls.
the jet skis. Jet skis cannot stay underwater while they're running. Ain't gonna happen.
Nope.
It's gonna flood them out. Even if they stayed underwater that long, held down, it's not gonna work. They're not gonna stay up. They're not gonna crank me. Probably the biggest one of all is if everything but the tops of the highest land is flooded, all the cities would be under about 20,000 feet of water. Right? Most likely. Okay. How did his homemade diving bell survive to that depth?
Oh, yep.
How did he fit 20,000 feet of cable to it? That's 4 miles of cable. It did not have that much thing. And then the same thing, if it would have been that depth, she would have had like the serious issues coming up, and again, the whole thing that why was that even there? It seemed like it was just a plot convenience for, okay, we need to take you down so you can see it. Yeah, he had that thing at the beginning, but that was not the same thing. I didn't think.
No, it was. I think it was dredging. Really.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was something like that. Oh yeah, finally the balloon. Okay, you know what it was filled with, right? It was filled with hydrogen, and you're going to float over a big boat that's now on fire. Has anyone ever heard of the Hindenburg? That's kind of, I was like, I was waiting for it to blow up, And don't get me started with the bungee cord thing. That thing was, I'm sorry. It's a rope, not a bungee cord. And besides the holes being too perfect, lined up exactly so he could crawl up it, the rust holes.
Yeah.
That didn't look like rust holes. That looked like they were cut perfectly. All right. What do we want to do next, guys? You guys want to fix this thing or you want to rate it next? What do you think?
I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah,
Let's
there
rate
you
it.
go.
Okay. Let's rate it. Okay, now we're going to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 5 lightsabers. Chad, you picked this movie. You get to start.
Well, it's not going to be a 5. It's never going to be a 5.
Oh, I was waiting for the 5 to come.
Oh, darn.
I'm never going to live that
gosh, I
down.
should've-
Never going to live that down.
But I'm going to go with at least do a 2.5 lightsabers on this, due to the fact of just because it was. I've seen this when I was younger, watched it again, and then watched it, and it's a fairly good movie, but not something I'll go to go look for to go watch. So 2.5 for me.
Okay. Shane, how about you, buddy?
So I would say again, the movie had potential. I don't think it went into nearly as much depth as it should have in all the different aspects, whether it's from the polar ice caps melting to the mutation, to the smokers, all these things. I just don't think it went into enough to really give it a high rating. Of course, the music is phenomenal. I'll say that. I thought they did a great job with it, but I think it was one of the highlights of the film. So I agree with Chad, and I will also give this a 2.5.
All right. John, how about you, buddy?
Well, spoiler alert, I'm just hopping on this train apparently. But I'll have you know I put it in the spreadsheet before they said
I saw
theirs.
it. I saw it.
So just to be clear behind the scenes, because I try to do that before we get to this segment. That way, I at least remember what I'm talking about. So, listen, I would watch it again. I think the stunt work, just the general action's very entertaining. Obviously, there's a lot wrong scientifically, plot hole wise. Even without the science stuff, it's still a little iffy. Storyline moves a little slow at times in between action, but it's still decent. It's worth the 2.5.
Well, then we're gonna make it a clean sweep because I was 2.5 also. You know, I kind of
I don't know if we've
look-
ever agreed all the way
I don't
across the board
think
before.
we've ever. This is the first time we've all done 2.5. But I look back at the other movies that I've rated 2.5 already this year. The Last Starfighter, I rated 2.5, and this kind of reminds me of that. I mean, not the movie itself, but how I enjoyed it, how I would watch it again. It was along the same length as that, you know. So to me, I was like, I liked it. I was fine, but like I think Chad said it, I wouldn't go out of my way to go search for it again. You know,
Mhm.
yeah, it's on my database. I own it. I'll watch it, but I'm not going to say, oh, I need to go see Waterworld, unless maybe hey, I'm going out to Hollywood and I was going to go watch the show, but I don't think I would even want to watch it before the show again. So, all right, with that, let's fix. I'd say or improve this movie, but I think we got to fix it. Okay. What are we going to do to fix or improve this movie? Shane, how about we start with you, buddy?
Okay. I think overall it needs more development. I think the storyline needs more development. I think you need to talk about how did the polar ice caps melt? What happened? What made it that way? And don't just go into the basic stuff. Like tell us what happened. I think you need to John kind of mentioned this earlier. I think you need to go into a little bit more of talking about the ruins and the remnants of the old world and how that would be passed down from generation to generation, people to people. I think they need to know about that. And as I said earlier, where did the smokers come from? What's up with that? How are they different? Just think overall the development of it needed to be a little bit more. I think they kind of assumed you would understand it more, but I think it needed more development.
Okay. Chad, how about you, buddy?
I agree with you, Shane. With it needs more development. I will do more character building in this, just because even though you might stretch this movie out, then you might have to split this in half to make it in 2 movies. But do character development. Know where did this mariner came from? Where do these smokers come from? Why are they this city in the floating city in the water? Why not make it more believable? Not just here's why it happened. Kind of do a flashback of when it happened, like what was going on at the time. Like we seen was it yeah, what movie we watched that kept doing it, little flashbacks, just to kind of telling the story and then going into the future too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Wasn't that Inception?
and then make it. No, that was not. Yeah, it was somewhere in Inception, but it was another movie we watched. Oh, what was the? It's gonna kill me. But yeah, do more development of the characters, make it tie into each other, and you can probably the storyline was great. Just if you do the character development, it would tie it in a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, John, did you give us yours?
Their big words development. Mine is purpose. I think, which deals with development anyway. It just needed a bigger purpose behind it, and I think for me that's one of two routes. You either have a sure villain, maybe a civilization that caused the flood to begin with, like specifically that group of people for sure did something that started it. A major rich billionaire who left to go live on the moon and caused something to happen down here because he wanted to rule. I don't know. Give me a sure villain And so you go either that route, or Mr. Mutant here is just on a journey to find his people. And what he's trying to seek out is his family, his home, as a group of people that still exist. Like maybe he got separated at birth, something along those lines, and he's been journeying, trying to find them. I think you go one of those two routes, it makes a little more sense than just, hey, we're all going to chase after this one child who has a map about a place that we're not even sure exists, because that makes entire sense. So I think it just needed a little bit more purpose, and I think that would be my major fix on it.
I am your father.
Guys. Oh, well, actually, I went way out there. I was totally opposite from what you guys did. I said the first thing it needs to do is it needs to be a miniseries. That way you can have an episode on Deacon and how he came to power, and all the again with the Exxon Valdez. How did they find the boat? Were they just nomads that were just searching? What was it? They could have a whole episode on the girl, the little girl, being that she's on the island and why they sent her away. And the tattoo doesn't need to be, oh, it's upside down. I'm sorry, couldn't you have gotten in a boat and just sailed south and they eventually found it? It needed to be like a cipher or something where they had to figure it out. It couldn't just be, hey, here it is right here on our back. There needed to be more of it. And then, of course, I liked what John said about the villain, or either way of those. But if you're going to go ahead and say the Earth is covered with water, give us some real scientific fact about it. Okay, a comet came down and came and hit the Earth. The tsunamis flooded most of the low-lying countries, and then eventually the comet was so large that it melted and it produced more water that caused the place to flood. Something like that. Actually give us some scientific fact in there. I know we're science fiction and we love science fiction, but it give us something that makes it plausible when we're like, oh, okay, that could really happen. Also, fix the gills. They don't need to be behind the ears. They should be like on his side or something, or his neck, someplace that that's going right into your your lungs some way, so you can get air into those. I figured on the sides would have been cool, because then he could have just like wore a vest or something and covered over it. No one would have known it until someone tried to steal his vest, and then they're like, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I said show how they convert oil into gasoline, repacking the ammo, get rid of the whole smoking cigarette thing, because if we're talking 500 years plus, that many cigarettes are not going to last. I'm sorry. I kind of balked with the National Geographic, that lasted 500 plus years or however long it was, So,
hey, they were printed on better paper back then.
Apparently so.
I remember reading, those a long time ago. And yeah, again, tell us how they evolved. How Costner's character evolved. Was it him? Was it just a birth defect for him? What did his parents think? Give us some background. Like you guys said, give us a little bit more. And I think a miniseries would do well with that. These 4, 5, 8 episode long shows that you could build on each character, and then they'll have a big climax and they all meet together or something at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wonder also, what would this have been like if they would have made it kind of the more comical parody kind of thing that they originally had thought about?
I don't know. I think that would have been fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it could have been. I'm not
If you
sure
look at it-
Costner would have done it though.
No,
Probably
no.
wouldn't have done it.
No, but there's a lot of elements in there, especially when you look at the smokers, that very much rings parody, like how much they smoke. Number one, The fact that they had like tractor pulls and different stuff like that. The car driving it. There's a lot of parody aspects that might have been interesting. I don't know if it would have been good, but it might have been interesting to see how it would have worked that way.
Yeah.
See, what y'all? The guy was on the beginning of the movie running that gun. What did it look like to you?
He looked like a pig.
There you go.
Did you guys notice? Oh, did you notice who was the boat driver for Deacon? It was Jack Black.
Really?
Boat driver. Yeah, he wasn't the guy shooting the gun. He was in Deacon's boat. He was the guy that was, he told the kids, they're doing the flags. He was the one next to him driving the boat.
Oh, I did not notice that.
I was like,
He didn't last too long.
No.
Nope.
Crypto Enterprise.
Please contact us. Tell us if you agree with our ratings or how you would fix or improve this movie, or if there's a movie that you would like us to review. The easiest way to do that is if you're watching us on YouTube is to comment below. For those of you that are audio only listeners, you can reach us on either X or Facebook at TheseSciFiGuys. Or you could email us TheseSciFiGuys@gmail.com. Yes, that's definitely the easiest way to contact us again. And it could be any of the audio, it could be YouTube, whatever. Make a little comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, fun stuff. We'd appreciate it. And, I was looking back just a second ago at all the movies we've done this year. And so far, none of them have been big name movies. Contact was, I'd never seen it until we did it. Some of you guys had never even heard that Flash Gordon had a movie in 1980. Nine. Still, a lot of our viewers are just like, "What in the heck was that?" So, and Last Starfighter was a tiny movie, really, compared to the other blockbuster stuff. So we are going to come up and do a big name movie now. Who picked this one out? It was John. John picked this out. We are going to do E.T. Phone Home.
Man, leave it to me to go from two picks being one of the least known movies we've done to one of the most known.
I wish I had a sound bite for that already in here, but I don't. People are like, doesn't he sound like Yoda a little bit?
A little bit.
Mm,
No,
a
he
little
sounds
bit,
even
a little bit.
worse than the ride at Universal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on. Dave's gonna love this. He sounds just like his favorite actor that we watched in the Pee Wee Herman.
No, I don't think so. I think he's. I think
You
he
won't
is.
think for that, Dave, because when you watch this movie, you're like, all right. John's
No,
right.
I'm going to hear
Do.
this.
Or do not. There is no try.
Nah.
I don't know. You know how long it's been since I've seen E.T. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the last time I saw it. I mean, I saw it in the theaters when it first came out back in the 80s. So I don't remember.
I saw it a couple of years ago.
I haven't even seen it.
It's been probably 20 years since I've seen this.
I was going to say it's got to be
been since
30
we've
or
had kids
40
in our house.
for me.
We
I think.
rewatched it with them.
Yeah. Wow.
Hmm.
It's just wow. I'm looking forward to it because I haven't seen it in forever. And
Well, John, have you seen it?
Yep. Yes. Even prior to this podcast.
This is one that John has seen. All right.
For sure. For sure have seen this one. That was a great question, Chad. Honestly, though.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, usually it's where our question is, have you seen this before? And John's like, think about it. Really?
No.
Usually that's the same with me too. Though spoiler, the soundtrack on this one is amazing. Just saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're going to tell us about it.
Oh, I'll tell you about it. Yes.
So until next time, Crash and burn. These Sci-Fi Guys is an independent broadcast by The Sci-Fi Guy Productions. Super Epic is music courtesy of Alexander Nakarita and is found on creatorchords.com. For more information on upcoming episodes, follow us on X at The Sci-Fi Guys. For our audio-only listeners, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Like, subscribe, or leave a comment to let us know how we're doing.